All right, the April 6, 2026 legislative session of Anne Arundel County Council is called to order. Please ensure all phones and electronic devices are set to silent. Yes. Please ensure all phones and electronic devices are set to silent. Ms. Fiedler, she will lead us in invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. Please pray in a manner consistent with your faith while I pray in a manner consistent with mine. Lord, as we begin this meeting tonight, we pray that we are kind to one another by being clear and patient with one another by listening well. May you help us navigate the ups and downs of our conversations as we aim to encourage and challenge one another in service to the residents of our county. We ask this in your name. Amen. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Madam Secretary, please read the ethics statement.
The Ethics Commission has asked that I advise you that under certain circumstances, members of the public may qualify as lobbyists when they testify before the County Council. If so, the law requires that certain information be filed with the Ethics Commission. The chair of the Ethics Commission has asked that those who wish to testify in any form review the general information on lobbying sheet located on the Ethics website under Forms and Publications. If there are any questions about lobbying requirements, please contact the Ethics Commission at 410-222-4412.
Okay, before we open our discussion and public hearing, I'd like to remind everyone in attendance, we must maintain decorum at all times within these chambers. Please understand that individual conversations in the audience are very disruptive to the proceedings, and I would kindly ask you to step out of the chambers if a slight discussion is necessary. We will now open our invitation to the audience. This is an opportunity to speak briefly on any subject that is not on the printed agenda. So, Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimonial tool?
Yes, we did. We received 6 pieces which were shared with the council, added to the record, and posted to the website.
Okay. We will now call on individuals who signed up ahead of the meeting. When I call your name, please come up to the table and have a seat. When it is your turn, state your name, address for the record. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes. Please listen for the buzzer and respect the 2-minute time limit as others are signed up to speak. If you have more than 2 minutes to share, I'm going to ask you to submit your additional thoughts using our online testimonial tool. So at this time, we will call Erica Lewis. Is that Nika Kelly? John Sis? Okay. And if there's anyone else who wishes to speak, please come up at this time. All right, Ms. Erica, so over to you.
Is there anything I need to do with the mouth? I hear myself. Thank you. Ready, set, go. Good evening. My name is Erica Lewis, and I'm a resident of the Fox Chase Subdivision in Glen Burnie. We're the only established community that will be directly impacted by the Marley Creek Park project. Yet we were poorly informed during the pre-adoption phase and largely excluded from the planning process since its approval. Our established neighborhood includes hundreds of homes, with about 100 homes directly affected. Individual residential inquiries have been directed to county websites for updates. Those pages provide very little meaningful updates. Meanwhile, project maps continue to change, suggesting decisions are being made without transparency. We hear passive park, but placing a park directly against Fox Chase doesn't make it passive for us. It puts a bullseye on our neighborhood. Even minimal features such as picnic tables bring real impacts, like noise, food waste, litter, pest, and disruption of wildlife that currently remain undisturbed in the woods. Dead-end streets may be open to through traffic. Wooded areas may be altered. Parking pressure may be pushed into our small residential streets. These are permanent changes to our homes, property values, and quality of life. We've been giving input ever since a little sign was stuck in the ground a few years ago, letting us know about the first survey. In 2023, Councilwoman Pickard graciously accepted an invitation to meet with our community on a Zoom call and acknowledged at that time limited progress. Little did we know adoption of the park was months away. Currently, there are no publicly viable updates, only subtle map changes, yet decisions continue. For elected officials, this should be concerning. For anyone else, please put yourselves in our position. We're being asked to accept significant disruption to our neighborhood without being given meaningful voice. We're not opposed to parks. We're opposed to process that lacks transparency, lacks accountability, and pretends to be inclusive. Fox Chase residents were engaged in the preliminary process, like 188 comments on the park survey results against this park. We deserve transparency, accountability. We deserve a meaningful voice in what happens to our community. Thank you.
Mr. John Siss?
Hi there, my name is John Siss. I live at 4431 Cobalt Drive in Harwood, Maryland. I'm here to ask the council to consider clearer language in the county code that defines what constitutes a farmer or agricultural use for zoning and enforcement purposes. Today, farmers, zoning officials, and even police officers are often left interpreting intent instead of applying objective standards. This leads to inconsistent enforcement, unnecessary conflicts, and uncertainty for residents who are trying to comply with the law. Anne Arundel County already regulates land and zoning classifications and permitted uses, but the practical definition of a farmer is not always clear. Without a common written standard, one agency may recognize an activity as agriculture while another treats it as a violation. What we are asking for is clarity, not deregulation. A clear definition would help everyone. We have a neighbor that was denied special exception and variance application. He dug a little area in his front yard, planted a few things, and now calls himself a farmer. He continues to store his equipment, bobcats, dump trucks, box trucks, excavators, and runs them for his landscaping business in and out of our cul-de-sac. We had another instance where he started all his equipment at 4 a.m. The police were called. They came over and said, well, he says he's a farmer, and we looked it up, and his property is zoned agriculture, so there's nothing we can do. Anne Arundel County has a long agriculture history, and our land use code should reflect modern, clear realities, not leave interpretation to chance or complaint-driven enforcement. I respectfully ask the council to review and amend the code so that farmer and agricultural use are defined in simple, objective terms that can be uniformly applied across departments. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll start from my right and work to the left. So, Mr. Kyle.
I just want to say, Mr. Vice Chair, if I say Madam Chair, it's out of habit, not,
Okay.
not out of disrespect.
Well, I hope I don't look like Madam.
But thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the County Council. Hope you had a good weekend. There's a thin line that exists between collaboration with all stakeholders and collusion with privileged few with a seat at the table. This thin line is transparency and is understandably challenging to see at times. The consequence of crossing this line is the perception of collusion with private developers to use workforce housing as a loophole mechanism to steamroll communities and increase the bottom line of private for-profit developers. I'm already observing the souring of public sentiment on the idea of workforce housing for this very reason, which is counterproductive. How are we going to be successful in increasing housing supply if we lose the trust of the public and the public support? It's an unforced error. Here are some of the things under the hood. No requirement for equal parking accommodation for workforce housing units. So this assumes that our county's workforce doesn't have social lives where their friends and family want to come visit them. We waive school impact fees for developers, so the county workforce doesn't have families that have children that go to public schools. Infrastructure impact fees are waived because we assume that magically the county workforce won't use that same infrastructure. Also, developers are entitled to density bonuses even in areas that don't have adequate roadways or viable transportation alternatives. I remind the council again, Montgomery County Council unanimously amended their workforce housing legislation to address that last bullet, but we couldn't clear that low bar. So to my surprise, when addressing concerns about overdevelopment, it was acknowledged by two members of the council that we need to balance the consideration of infrastructure. Oddly familiar, but great answers. It just puzzles me that the same council members voted down legislation that attempted to balance development with infrastructure, let alone the opportunity to refine that legislation. So to reference a quote so often used on the campaign trail, yes, no one is coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Mr. Higgins.
Mr. Vice Chair, I got that right. For the record, Paul Higgins, 8084 Woodholm Circle, Pasadena. As a teenager growing up in the 70s, I learned what seems logical could lead to dangerous conditions. when I mixed ammonia and bleach together while cleaning tables in our church hall. It was a lesson in respecting the science of something independent of what sounds good that the fire department explained to me while they were ventilating the building. That said, I believe it is not much different than what I see happening to this point with the Jumpers Hole Road project. It sounds good to install a signal to enhance access to Creekstone residents, and that will provide relief to Woodhome Circle. But what does the science say? Before and after interim signal gap analysis study was completed and dated March 26. I have it here. It was given to me by traffic engineering. It says, before and after gaps in Jumpers Hole Road were found to be unacceptable for meeting safety standard. Not only that, but the report makes 4 recommendations, 2 of which require collecting more traffic data at Evening Star and Ashbury. It sounds good to have a bike path and sidewalks, but 60% design, there's 88 drawings for this project, was released on March 26th with comments due 9 April. I've been through 2/3 of them. I have 33 comments. These comments border on roadway widths appear to be at or below the minimum recognized standard. Relocation of stop bars on uncontrolled intersections, adding gap times. Offsets and crosswalks at uncontrolled intersections, creating line of sight issues for drivers and pedestrians. Extended impact on local community if proposed construction phasing proceeds. Inconsistency with the proposed 60% design and the last traffic analysis study. Okay, which only satisfied 3 of the warrants, and there's 9 in here. 3 is the minimum.
Thank you, Mr. Atkins. Appreciate you. Mr. Vincent?
Hi, Kurt Svensson, Arnold, Maryland. At the March 2nd council meeting, I presented the first of a 4-part series of brief presentations to help us prepare for the long overdue impact fee bill. Tonight, I'm presenting the second and third parts of this series, which highlight key components of the 16-page slide deck previously provided. See my written testimony for details. Slides 2 through 4 provide an explanation of the general purpose and brief history of impact fees in Anne Arundel County, including hyperlinks to a lot of resources to help you and the public at large get smart on this subject. One important takeaway is this: the county's implementation of impact fees has been subject to lots of developer-initiated lawsuits over the years. Yet, the fees supported by previous impact fee cost studies have never been ruled against by the courts. It is notable that the county's 2023 impact fee cost study uses a significantly changed approach. Slides 5 through 8 provide an explanation of the decades-long impact fee calculation process using a single-family detached unit with 3 bedrooms as an example, and highlights the key assumptions used. The table in my written testimony highlights an important difference. The attributable travel for a single-family detached unit with 3 bedrooms is a total of 32 miles per day in the previous study, but just 7.83 miles per day in the 2023 study. Single-family detached unit with 3 bedrooms, 7.83 miles per day. I'm sorry, that doesn't pass the laugh test. Any changes to a decades-long practice like this should include a comparison of results under both methods and be transparently shared with the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Please return to your seats. Anyone else seeking to speak, please come forward now. Seeing no movements. Oh. Again, this is for things that are not on the printed agenda. If there is a piece of legislation that we're debating later, at that time is when you would come back up. So this is for stuff that is not on the agenda. All right? All right, the invitation to the audience is now closed. May I have a motion that the partial readings of any bill, resolution, amendment to a bill or resolution or minutes constitutes the reading of the whole?
So moved.
All in favor? Madam Secretary, please read the minutes of the legislative session of March 19, 2026.
The County Council meeting was called to order by Chair Hummer at 7:05 p.m. It was opened with the invocation given by Ms. Hummer and was followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. The meeting was held in the County Council chambers in Annapolis, Maryland.
All right, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the legislative session of March 19, 2026?
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. The minutes of the legislative session of March 19, 2026 stand approved as read. Madam Secretary, please read the title of the bills to be introduced this evening.
Bill number 2526, an ordinance concerning current expense budget, supplementary appropriations. Bill number 2626, an ordinance concerning National Business Park, North Special Taxing District modification of boundaries. Bill number 2726, an ordinance concerning special obligation refunding bonds, National Business Park North Development District, National Business Park North Special Taxing District. Bill number 2826, an ordinance concerning zoning commercial districts, apartment dwelling units. And Bill number 2926, an ordinance concerning zoning conditional use requirements, licensed dispensaries of cannabis.
All right, Madam Secretary, please read the titles of the resolutions to be introduced this evening.
Resolution number 626, resolution amending resolution number 1210 to modify the boundaries of the National Business Park North Development District, and resolution number 726, resolution designating April 30th, 2026 as National Therapy Animal Day and celebrating therapy animals and their handlers.
All right, Madam Secretary, please read the titles of Bill number 326 as amended and Bill 426 as amended.
Bill number 326, an ordinance concerning General Development Plan, Region 8 Plan, and Bill number 426, an ordinance concerning Comprehensive Zoning, Region 8.
So to Mr. Ethan, how you doing?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me, I have Lori Blair Klossmeyer, our Deputy County Attorney, Christina Pompa, our Deputy Planning and Zoning Officer, Cindy Carrier, our Planning Administrator, and Eric Ketterling, our Senior Planner. Bills 326 and 426 are for the adoption of the Region Plan and Comprehensive Zoning of Region Planning Area Number 8, which covers Davidsonville, Harwood, Lothian, Owensville, Owings, Wason's Corner, and parts of Friendship and Edgewater. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Pompa for some brief comments.
Christina Pompa with the Office of Planning and Zoning. This is our last meeting here with you for Region 8, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. It's a big process culminating with the County Council, all of our stakeholders, all of the property owners that participated, our sister agencies, everybody that came out to testify. I just want to say thank you. I think it's been another successful process.
Appreciate you. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, ask if any, is there any objection to a joint public hearing on bills number 326 and 426? All right. We will now open the joint public hearing on bill number 326 and 426. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimonial tool?
No, Mr. Vice Chair, we did not.
All right. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on bills 326 or 426? No movement. The joint public hearing on bill number 326 and 426 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of bill 326 as amended and 426 as amended.
Bill number 326, an ordinance concerning General Development Plan, Region 8 Plan, and Bill number 426, an ordinance concerning Comprehensive Zoning, Region 8.
All right, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on bill number 326. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any further discussion? Yes, skipped over that. Please call the roll on 326.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Hummer is absent, and Mr. Smith.
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Bill number 326 as amended has passed.
Please call the roll on bill number 426 as amended.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Hummer is absent, and Mr. Smith.
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Bill number 426 as amended has passed.
Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 926 as amended.
Bill number 926, an ordinance concerning zoning, conditional uses, battery energy storage systems.
So to Ms. Fiedler for comments.
Thank you. This bill has been discussed at previous meetings and work sessions. It essentially adds a use to our code that currently does not exist for battery energy storage systems. There will be an amendment at the appropriate time to address the state preemption issue that was identified at our last hearing.
Okay,
Mr. Vice Chair,
yes, ma'am.
could I request to be added as a co-sponsor?
Yes.
We will add you. Thank you, Ms. Radvian.
Did you want to make any comments as well? Ms. Picker, did you, since you were a co-sponsor, any comments? Okay. All right, thank you. We will now open the public hearing on Bill number 926 as amended. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimonial tool?
No, we did not.
Sign up in advance. Is there any, is there anyone who wishes to speak on Bill 926 from the audience? Please come forward at this time. Okay, we'll start from my right and move to the left. Sir, please state your name and address for the record in 2 minutes.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Adam Dubitsky. I serve as State Director for the Land and Liberty Coalition of Maryland. We are a renewable energy and storage advocacy group. We also support grid modernization. I'm also an Arundel resident, homeowner, and a ratepayer. This amendment to the bill is a very important step in the right direction, and I appreciate the sponsor's willingness and other members of the council's willingness to listen to our concerns about it. What this amendment does, it ensures that the county will be able to avail itself of this important technology. We share our grid with some of the most critical infrastructure in the U.S., NSA, Cyber Command, U.S. Naval Academy. They all have battery backup, at least I hope they do. They already have their systems taken care of. What this bill will do is ensure that Maryland, Anne Arundel homeowners, business owners have the power they need when they need it. It simply stores energy when it is available or low cost and puts it back into the system when it is needed. This ensures that the county can not only take care of its needs now and going forward, help stabilize our local grid, but also, I believe, with this amendment, serve as a model for other Maryland counties and other jurisdictions on how to avail itself of this important new technology. And I thank, again, the members of the council for their time and their consideration.
Thank you. Ma'am?
At the sake of being a little repetitive, I think he summarized it great, but Kiara Wheatley from Hyatt and Weber on behalf of CME Mar LLC, thank you, council members, for your continued consideration of this bill and the proposed amendment tonight. This legislation represents an important step forward for Anne Arundel County by allowing front-of-the-meter energy storage as a permitted use. The county can support a more reliable and resilient electric grid. These facilities help store excess energy and deploy it when it is needed, reducing strain on existing infrastructure, helping stabilize energy prices for consumers, all while generating virtually no traffic, noise, or fumes, and generating some tax revenue for the local jurisdiction as well. Equally important, this bill ensures that the county is meeting its obligations under the State Renewable Energy Certainty Act. Tonight's amendment is the product of careful listening and collaboration throughout this process. It directly addresses the concerns raised by the council, the staff, and the public. The inclusion of the conflict provision ensures alignment with state law now and in the future. The requirement for site development review provides appropriate oversight at the local level. The safety standards help ensure these facilities are developed and operated responsibly. The removal of the distance requirements expand where this use can be developed. And together, these changes create a balanced framework for the bill. However, tonight's timeline is critical. Without the passage of this bill, the county will remain out of compliance with the state law, as there is currently no zoning classification that permits this use. The bill expires on April 25th, and the opportunity to act is quickly closing. Tonight is the final opportunity to make amendments, and we believe that Amendment 6 reflects a well-vetted, comprehensive solution to the concerns that were expressed previously. So we thank you for your time and respectfully request or urge you to support the amendment this evening and move the bill for final passage on April 20th. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good evening. My name is Emily Strobach, and I represent Granite Source Power, a company in the battery energy storage industry. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here to encourage the council to vote to approve this amendment, allowing battery energy storage systems as a conditional use in various zoning districts throughout the county. As our country, and this region in particular, faces soaring electricity demand and therefore prices, battery storage can play a critical role in grid reliability and place downward pressure on costs. Battery storage systems charge from the grid when demand is low and discharge electricity onto the grid when demand increases, stabilizing the supply of electricity while not being reliant on commodity prices. In addition to these macro benefits, battery storage systems can have positive impacts in the county. They are silent revenue generators, bringing hundreds of thousands of dollars annually in tax revenue that can fund schools, local fire and police departments, and more without increasing the local population. Private companies like Granite Source Power and others are in the best position to bring these types of projects online due to the required large capital expenditures and the ability to act relatively quickly that is not always available to public utilities. Battery systems are designed to meet rigorous safety requirements established by the National Fire Protection Association. The amendment before you today ensures all battery storage systems developed in Anne Arundel County meet those standards and places additional requirements in the form of site-specific emergency response plans and on-site training with local fire departments. I applaud the dedication to safety of the council. In addition to county approval, all battery storage systems must receive approval by the Maryland Public Service Commission. The commission reviews each application for emergency response plans, site design, and environmental impact. The recently enacted Renewable Energy Certainty Act requires applicants to notify county level government and engage with local communities as part of the development process. In sum, battery storage systems present a unique opportunity to the county. They can contribute significantly to electricity stabilization, grid reliability, and local revenue. I encourage the council to adopt this amendment.
Thank you. Thank you. Please return to your seats. Any other speakers on 926? If not, public hearing on Bill 926 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 926.
Bill number 926, an ordinance concerning zoning, conditional uses, battery energy storage systems.
Any further discussion before we move on to amendments? Okay. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 6.
Amendment number 6. This amendment adds front of the meter to references to battery energy storage systems, allows front of the meter battery energy storage systems as a special exception use in certain residential districts, as the special exception use requirements for a front of the meter battery energy storage system, modifies the conditional use requirements for a front of the meter battery energy storage system, and makes certain technical changes.
Ms. Fiedler?
Thank you. So it is a very long amendment, but the summary is very accurate, actually. Office of Law and myself and co-sponsors went through the bill and looked at state preemption law and put this amendment together, which addresses all of the concerns with the state's ability in this area. So we should be free of that, and I ask my colleagues to support this amendment tonight.
Is there a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Thank you, Ethan Hunt, for the administration. I have Lynn Miller, our Assistant Planning and Zoning Officer, Lori Blair Klossmeyer, our Deputy County Attorney, Captain Donna McGuire from the Fire Department, and Andrew McCara, our Assistant Director for Plan Review and Inspections, from Inspections and Permits. I appreciate the sponsors working with various departments to get the language in this amendment hammered out to address the preemption concerns, and I would urge the council to adopt it. Happy to answer any questions.
Discussion, questions?
Just a couple statements. This is a great example of what it looks like as we do our work publicly, how some of our perspectives can shift over time. Obviously, my initial concern with this bill was, what's the fire safety with this? I have had the opportunity to speak to a lot of people who are stakeholders who have shared that, in fact, the methods for dealing with these types of fires have gotten more and more sophisticated, and the fire department has gotten better and better at it, which is excellent. So really, my opposition to this bill in the beginning, or my concern about it, has really been mollified, if you will. And in fact, now that I've seen more of it and learned more of it, I actually wonder if there are some components of this that down the road we may want to continue looking at, such as the decision to make this special exception in residential areas. I'm not saying this needs to happen for this bill, because obviously we're on a time limit, but it may be for either this council or a future council to look at whether shifting to a conditional use in residential even makes sense as we keep going further. And the 2.5 mile prohibition within the critical area might also be something that we need to investigate at some point. So I just put those comments on the record as we're considering this to say these are things that we as a body thought about and considered, and recognizing that the time is running out to be able to do it in this bill. It may be something that in future we need to come back and address later, but I do really appreciate all the work that Ms. Fiedler and Ms. Hummer have done kind of leading this charge and the work from the administration. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I just wanted to, and I had a great conversation with Ms. Fiedler earlier today, but I wanted to kind of bring that out for the air as well, and maybe Office of Law would be willing to answer the question, because it has to do with the preemption. My understanding, I have a historical position that I still hold true. I'm always a little bit wary when we introduce uses into agricultural property because of my interest in preserving our agricultural industry. But my understanding is that due to the preemption by the state, there are some certain requirements set. And so that is why we need to have RA as a special exception. And could you just speak to a little bit more about that intersection so it's clear for the record?
I can try. Yes, the state has certain requirements for what for zoning purposes for these facilities, and yes, exactly what you said is true, that RA is part of what's there. So,
it's part of what the state
of the scheme. Yes, the state scheme. Yes, correct.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Seeing no more questions, please call the roll on amendment number 6.
Ms. Rodbian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Hummer's absent, and Mr. Smith?
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Amendment number 6 has been adopted.
Bill number 926 as amended will be heard on April 20th, 2026. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1126.
Bill number 11. Bill number 1126, an ordinance concerning recreation and parks, Article 14, Code Revision.
Mr. Hunt?
Thank you. Ethan Hunt for the administration. I have Lori Blair Klossmeyer, our Deputy County Attorney, Erica Matthews, our Deputy Director of Rec and Parks, and Chris Carroll, our Parks Administrator for the Department of Rec and Parks. Bill 1126 amends Article 14 of the County Code, which governs recreation and parks, to update the article to modernize county regulations by broadening the scope of oversight to all recreation and park areas and aligning definitions with current state laws, particularly regarding electric bikes, scooters, and drones. It also introduces stricter environmental protections while also refining public safety rules for swimming, golfing, and shoreline mooring. It improves operational efficiency through digital public notice requirements and updated permitting processes, and clarifies the director's authority to manage commercial activities, establish facility access fees, and enforce pack-out trash policies. And as amended, it provides a appeal process for residents who are dissatisfied with a decision of the director. So with all of that, I would urge the council to support this bill, and we're happy to answer any questions.
My colleagues at this point? Ms. Fiedler?
Thank you. I know we still have to have, we're still doing public
There is.
hearing. So before we get to that, I will just say there are components of the bill that I don't love. One of them being the prohibition on balloons and glitter, but I understand the position of the department. For me this evening, it's really important that we update our code with regard to e-bikes because that is one of the most regular complaints I hear on county trails specifically, and this would allow for us to actually start enforcing. So when we get to that portion of this bill, you'll see my vote reflected.
Seeing no lights, we will now turn to public testimony. So, Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimonial tool?
No, Mr. Vice Chair, we did not.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak on Bill 1126? Seeing no movement, public hearing on Bill 1126 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1126.
Bill number 1126, an ordinance concerning recreation and parks, Article 14, code revision.
Mr. Volkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This reminds me of the lyrics of the Rolling Stones song, "You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, well, you might find you get what you need." And so in this case, I appreciate the efforts of the administration and Rec and Parks to try to get to a place where we could all be comfortable with this bill. I echo some of the comments that Ms. Fiedler mentioned about, we're not getting everything that we want. It's not, the perfect bill in our minds, some of us, but it is a good bill, and it's a bill that I look forward to supporting, and I thank you for the diligent efforts to get the appeal process in, which I think is important. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I concur with much of what my two colleagues already said, and a thought that's going through my mind as I sit here is that one of the pluses about codifying some of these things that are currently rules, once we make them code, it does give, if we have lessons learned, if there's improvements and feedback that we receive from the public, the council, whether it's this one or a future body, 5, 10, however many years from now, as society changes too, they'll have the ability to come back and update the code accordingly. So in a way, it gives the council a little bit of control in a few lanes where we don't have as much control right now as it sits. So we may not be getting everything we want right now, but I think overall, this has landed in a pretty good spot, and I'm looking forward to supporting it tonight.
Seeing no additional lights, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Bill number 1126.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard. Aye. Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Hummer is absent, and Mr. Smith.
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Bill number 1126 as amended has passed.
Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1326.
Bill number 1326, an ordinance concerning construction and property maintenance code supplement, fire prevention code amendments.
Okay, Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Ethan Hunt, for the administration. Joining me at the table, I have Lori Blair Klossmeyer, our Deputy County Attorney, Captain Donna McGuire, our Bureau Commander from the Fire Department, and Andrew McCara, the Assistant Director of Plan Review and Inspections from Inspections and Permits. So this legislation updates the Anne Arundel County Fire Prevention Code. It adopts the 2024 version of the National Fire Protection Association 1 and National Fire Protection Association 101, commonly referred to as NFPA. We're 2 cycles out of date. Behind, so this brings it up to current standards by addressing needs to address current nationally recognized fire and life safety standards, reflect technological advancements, and ensure consistency with the Maryland State Fire Prevention Code and other state laws. Happy to answer any questions. I have the experts here at the table with me who know it inside and out, and I would urge the council to adopt. Happy to answer any questions.
Comments from the council? Seeing no additional lights, we will now open a public hearing on Bill number 1326. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
No, we did not.
All right. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on Bill number 1326 here in the audience? Okay. Public hearing on Bill 1326 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill 1326.
Bill number 1326, an ordinance concerning construction and property maintenance code supplement, fire prevention code amendments.
All right, any further discussion from the council? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 1326.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard. Aye. Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Hummer is absent, and Mr. Smith.
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Bill number 1326 as amended has passed.
Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1526.
Bill number 1526, an ordinance concerning zoning, outdoor lighting.
All right, Ms. Fiedler?
Thank you. We've had discussions on this bill. Essentially, the bill is taking current code, which says if you are in a residential lot in a residential zone and you have lights on your property, you have to keep the lights facing downward and on your property so not as to disturb your neighbors. If you are in a residential property or in a residence on any lot and are adjacent to commercial, industrial, you do not have that same ability to have zoning enforcement enforce lighting of your neighbor. So you could have lights from a commercial building shining into your home all hours of the evening, and there's nothing in the code that allows the county to do anything with regards to zoning. This bill would allow that to be possible. And with that, I ask for my colleagues' support at the appropriate time.
Mr. Hunt?
Ethan Hunt for the administration. I have Lori Blair Klossmeyer, Deputy County Attorney, and Lynn Miller, our Assistant Planning and Zoning Officer. We're comfortable with the bill as amended and happy to answer any questions.
Like Christmas for Ms. Fiedler tonight. It's pretty good. Seeing no lights, we'll now open a public hearing on bill number 1526. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimonial tool?
No, we did not.
So no one signed up ahead. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on bill 1526 this evening from the audience? Seeing no movement, the public hearing on 1526 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of bill number 1526.
Bill number 1526, an ordinance concerning zoning, outdoor lighting.
Any further discussion?
Question for Office of Law or Planning and Zoning. So if we have people who are doing sort of what's called uplighting or lighting onto your house, I'm reading this and it says it's got to be confined to a specific feature such as a parking lot, walkway, or entrance. But if it's like lighting on the house or a building, is that going to be an issue, or do we need to be more specific with that?
Lynn Miller, Planning and Zoning. I think in that case, we would rely on the language that says that the light fixture needs to be pointed downward. I realize it's sometimes a judgment call when you're out in the field trying to make a determination about these, but our enforcement officers do their best.
Okay. So that could potentially be an issue is what I'm hearing. Because you can't put downward facing uplighting. That would defeat the point of the uplighting.
Correct.
It is on your own house, but this doesn't say that you're allowed to do that, at least not the way I'm reading it.
So Lori Blair, Klossmeyer, Deputy County Attorney. This is specifically for non-residential, so we're not talking about uplighting on, I know what you're talking about, like you have it in the bushes and
Yeah, right.
This is non-residential, so it wouldn't,
This will only apply
unless Ms.
to
Miller
the-
says I'm wrong.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. You get good?
Yeah.
You agree? Okay.
But the Arundel Center, for example, we have a light that faces on the mural. We're not a residential. That's, no one's going to complain about.
Specific feature.
Okay. Oh, okay. What's in the city?
Well, also, you're looking at the effect on neighboring residential lots.
Right, right,
So
just-
we wouldn't have anything right.
Some people just
I
look
don't
for a
think,
loophole
but-
to
Nope.
and so I just want
As
to
an
make
example,
sure.
right, as an
we weren't gonna-
example, right.
But it is in the city, so. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Where am I at? Did we already do a public on this one? No, not yet. Or we did?
No, we did.
All right. All right, so Madam Secretary, please call the roll on bill number 1526.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Hummer's absent, and Mr. Smith.
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Bill number 1526 as amended has passed.
Madam Secretary, Christmas in July. Madam Secretary, please read the title of bill number 1726 and bill number 1826.
We will do bill number
I'm sorry.
1626 first.
You're right. I'm sorry about that. Please read the title of bill number 1626.
Bill number 1626, an ordinance concerning subdivision and development, adequate school facilities, school utilization chart.
Mr. Hunt,
Ethan Hunt for the administration. I have Lori Blair Klossmeyer, Deputy County Attorney, Lynn Miller, our Assistant Planning and Zoning Officer, and Jeff Hagan, the Executive Director of Facilities from Anne Arundel County Public Schools. So this bill updates the school utilization chart, which we are required to do every year. It incorporates the latest projections from the 2025 Education Facilities Master Plan and the most current school enrollment numbers from the fall of 2025. This determines for each public elementary, middle, and high school whether to taking into account all enrollment and student generation data provided by the Board of Ed, including new students to be generated by new development approved since the last chart update was approved, school enrollment for each public school that is at or less than 100% of the state-rated capacity. We're happy to answer any questions.
Any discussion from the council? Seeing no lights. We will now open the public hearing on Bill 1626. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimonial tool?
No, we did not.
All right, see who signed up in advance. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on Bill 1626 from the audience? All right, seeing no movement, public hearing on Bill 1626 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill 1626.
Bill number 1626, an ordinance concerning subdivision and development, adequate school facilities, school utilization chart.
All right, any further discussion? All right, please call the roll on Bill 1626.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Hummer's absent, and Mr. Smith.
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Bill number 1626 has passed.
Madam Secretary, please read the title now of Bill 1726 and 1826.
Bill number 1726, an ordinance concerning general development plan, Region 5 plan, and Bill number 1626, an ordinance concerning comprehensive zoning, Region 5.
All right, Mr. Hunt.
Thank you. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me, I have Lori Blair Klossmeyer, our Deputy County Attorney, Christina Pompa, our Deputy Planning and Zoning Officer, Cindy Carrier, our Planning Administrator, and Mark Wildonger, our Senior Planner for Region 5. Bills 1726 and 1826 are for the adoption of the Region Plan and Comprehensive Zoning of Region Planning Area Number 5, which covers Odenton, Piney Orchard, Gambrels, Woodwardville, Crofton, and Two Rivers. This was discussed at the work session last month, and I will turn it over to Ms. Pompa if she wants to make any additional comments, and then we, after the public hearing, discuss amendments at the appropriate time.
Christina Pompa, Office of Planning and Zoning. We don't have any additional comments at this time.
Thank you. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, is there any objection to a joint public hearing on bills number 1726 and 1826? Seeing no opposition to that, we will now open the joint public hearing on Bill 1726 and Bill 1826. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimonial tool?
Yes, we received 3 pieces for Bill number 1726 and 73 pieces for Bill number 1826, which were shared with the council, added to the record, and posted to the website.
All right, there are a number of folks who did sign up to speak on this bill. We're going to call those individuals who signed up ahead of the meetings. When I call your name, please come up to the table and have a seat. When it's your turn, state your name and address for the record. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes. Please listen for the buzzer and respect the 2-minute time limit as others are signed up to speak. If you have more than 2 minutes to share, I ask you submit your additional thoughts as early as tomorrow using our online testimonial tool. And so I will now read off the folks who did sign up in advance. And so please come forward and take a seat at the table. Mr. Ed, is that Ryle? Real? Nakia Kelly? Or Nakia? Jim Holman? Joy Mooney? Brian Kaufman? Megan Rapote? All right, and I'll call one more, Judith Wagner. Sir, over to you.
My name is Ed Reel. My home address, 1534 Yellow Sand Lane in Odenton. I am here this evening to encourage your support of Bill 1826. I am speaking on behalf of the Friends of Two Rivers. We're a grassroots organization of homeowners in Two Rivers, and we seek to advocate for the majority of the homeowners in Two Rivers. The 2 most controversial zoning proposals in this bill would downzone parcel N and parcel O to open space. I understand that some council members are concerned about downzoning a property by legislative action against the desires of the property owner. In general, I think that's an admirable position. However, in the case of parcels N and O, the historical facts support downzoning these two parcels. In 2016, the parcel owners signed an agreement that stated that no residential or commercial buildings shall be constructed on these properties ever. The special exception for Two Rivers, PUD, is also consistent with this open space zoning classification. In my view, the 2016 agreement and the PUD are evidence of the parcel owner's approval to downzone these parcels over 10 years ago. As you know, FATPIA has filed a lawsuit against the Two Rivers developers to seek enforcement of the 2016 agreement. The final resolution of that court case will likely take some time. In the meantime, the council can vote to approve Bill 1826 and correct the zoning for parcels N and O to open space. Based on a survey poll of Two Rivers homeowners, 83% of the homeowners expressed opposition to building new homes in the parcel O, which was sold to us as an environmental park area. And a lot of those homeowners are here today. Thank you for the opportunity to express my views.
Thank you. Mr. Jim?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and County Council members. My name is Jim Holman. I reside at 1546 Myers Station Road in Odenton, Maryland. I'm here tonight to express my concern and my feelings on Bill number 1726 and Bill number 1826. These bills concern the comprehensive rezoning for Region 5. The Region 5 Advisory Board Committee and the Office of Planning and Zoning has recommended that our area remain zoned as rural agriculture and/or open space. It has been recommended that parcel OR be downzoned from R2 open space to open space only. Two River Associates would like to build an additional 377 homes on this parcel, as they have made it clear at multiple public meetings and following for county approval of their planned unit development. Our community, the Forks of Patuxent Improvement Association, has a signed covenant between our community and Two Rivers Associates. This covenant prohibits any building on parcel OR. I know Anne Arundel County has stated before this agreement is between two private parties and they have been instructed by county's legal department not to get involved. However, this document was entered into records during the special exception hearing in 2016. It is also at this hearing where Two Rivers Associates agreed for parcel OR to be used as walking trails and zoned as open space. We all know bills can be amended at the 11th hour to suit a special need. I am asking that it not happen with this bill. I am asking that our county council approve this bill as recommended by our Region 5 Advisory Committee and Office of Planning and Zoning. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joy Mooney. I reside at 1079A, Maryland Route 3, North Lane. I am requesting that my property get rezoned to C4. I am a classic car collector and remodeler in the inside. I am planning on having my hobby turn into a business, bless you. And so I'm requesting that I'm able to rezone my property to C4. That will allow me to have the commercial size garage that I would like so that I can remodel the interior of my cars. Thank you, everyone, for your time, and thank you, Councilwoman Ledbetter, for your support.
Okay. Mr. Bryant?
My name is Brian Kaufman. I also reside at 1079A. Excuse me, I've been sick for the last couple of days, but part of the property is already a commercial property. It's split. That's why we're here asking for the balance to be turned to C4. Again, it is in support of her dream as well as mine to just kind of have our business right there. It's not a high traffic style business. It's more people drop cars off, they stay for 3, 4, 5 months, and then they pick them up when they're done. It's not a high, it's not going to be a lot of people coming in and out. I thank you all for your time. Thank you for hearing us, but again, this is just our dream of what we would like to have at our property.
Megan?
Good evening. My name is Megan Rappold. I'm an attorney at the law firm of Venable LLP. We represent Vulcan Materials Company, the owner of 1852 Jackson Grove Road. Tonight, I'm here to request the council support a rezoning of the property from W2 to the W3 district to align the zone with the longstanding existing use of the property, which is a concrete batch plant facility. The batch facility has been located on the property since around 1988. As I said, the property is currently zoned to the W2 district. And recently, the owners became aware from conversations with OPZ that the concrete batch facility is not permitted in the W2 zone, but it is permitted in W3. And that's why we're here tonight to request your support for rezoning of the property to the W3 district so the existing use will align with the proper zoning district. The owner does not seek to intensify the batch plant use as a result of this rezoning. They simply seek to continue the batch plant facility as they have done so for years. This facility is important to the economy and in the region. It provides concrete to nearby construction projects and also federal government projects. We thank Councilwoman Pickard for bringing the rezoning forward and also thank council staff and OPZ and their assistance in navigating the comprehensive rezoning process. We ask your support for this rezoning of the property, and thank you.
Ms. Judith?
My name is Judy Wagner. I live at 1210 Beaver Tree Drive in Two Rivers in Region 5. I want to speak in favor of Bill 1826, in particular the provision that would rezone a large 100-plus acre parcel, we call it Parcel O, in the Two Rivers development, from primarily R2 to open space. The Two Rivers developer has been representing for 20 years now that parcel would be reserved for recreational or environmental uses. Since its very first request to the county in 2006 for a PUD, the developer has always told the county government that this parcel would serve as open space. Not only did the developer promote the parcel to the county government, but to all us home buyers as well. The developer's brochure for prospective new home buyers bragged, at least as recently as 2019, that, quote, 50% of Two Rivers is dedicated to open space. For the developer to keep that promise, Parcel O needs to stay open. But recently, the developer has proposed to go back on that promise by adding almost 20% more homes to Two Rivers. Where? Parcel O. But in this bill, AA County is showing that a promise is a promise. The county executive, with the full participation of the Office of Legal Counsel, has determined that this zoning change is legal and defensible. So you have nothing to lose. The council can validate the overall design of Two Rivers and bring the parcel into conformance with all of the official PUD filings and with all of the marketing materials prepared by the developer throughout the years. It is so important to me as a homeowner to know that in Arundel County, developers are kept to their word and home buyers can rely on our county government for standards of trust between buyers and sellers. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. All right, please return to your seats. I will call down the next list of speakers. There, Floyd Minor. Floyd Minor. Okay. All remote. We don't have remote, but he's probably just listening in. Or okay. Kieran, is that Egolf? Egloff? Okay, come forward. Is that Renee Henderson or Renee Henderson? Chuck Brown? Susan James? Patrick Owens, Catherine Fleshman, and Timothy Roxy. Timothy Roxy. Okay. Ms. Karen, we'll start with you.
Hi, my name is Karen Egloff, and I'm here on behalf of my family. My mother, Cassandra Egloff, owns the property at 876 Maple Road in Gambles, Maryland. According to this new plan for Region 5, the property would be changed from a split-zoned property that has commercial, which is directly parallel and abuts another commercial property. It would be changed from commercial with some rural residential to the back, and our commercial designation would be taken away, and it would be turned into total residential. So while we have no immediate plan of making the property fully commercial, it just seems to me that an existing designation of commercial should not just be, swished away because it doesn't go along with the new plan. In fact, on two of the sides of the property, 2 times in the side and in the back, it is has commercial strip shopping centers. In front of the property, to the front, is the Navy Academy farmland that is used part of the time for a commercial interest and promoting agritourism, where there is a corn maze in the fall, which creates a lot of activity. It also overlooks a grocery store across the way. The post office is there. There are many commercial uses. So why all of a sudden would they sit there and say, well, you can't have a commercial use there, even though the property has commercial designation? There's only one side that has residential. So we do object to the change of our zoning for our family property, which we have owned for 100 years or more.
Thank you. Mr. Chuck Brown?
Yes. My name is Chuck Brown. I live at 2635 Dragonfly Way in Two Rivers. I'm here this evening to advocate for the passage of Bill 1826, specifically to correctly codify the zoning of parcels N and O to open space, as I believe was originally intended by the Two Rivers developers. On March 8, 2016, the Two Rivers developer signed a declaration stating that no residential or commercial building shall be constructed on parcels N or O. The document also states that a plat note will indicate that the prohibition is perpetual. In signing this and other documents, the developer clearly acknowledged that their intent was never to build on these parcels and to reserve them for the recreational space for the Two Rivers residents. Throughout the entire life cycle, Two Rivers life cycle, parcels N and O have always been intended for use as public space. Parcel N has had several versions of being a community garden, a farm, or a garden park area. Initially, Parcel O was proposed as part of a golf course, and lastly, as the environmental park area. Now it appears the developer wants the parcel zoned as residential to ignore the legal documents they signed and take the restricted recreational areas from the homeowners and build additional homes. These additional homes are not part of the original agreement, which limits Two Rivers to 2,060 homes. These homes are not wanted by a majority of the existing community, and the additional residents they would generate would overwhelm the existing clubhouse facilities. I encourage the council to consider leaving parcels N and O as open space as documented in the Region 5 Comprehensive Zoning Table. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Ms. Susan James?
My name is Susan James. I live at 1458 Harwell Avenue in Crofton, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to the council concerning our rezoning request for Crofton Management and Eastern Performance. Tim Whitmore and I began Eastern Performance in 1997 as a motorcycle parts retail store and service department. It is a family business. 2 of our daughters work there, as well as a nephew who is the general manager. We've enjoyed the support of the local community with no complaints or opposition. Anne Arundel County, PG County, U.S. Capitol, U.S. Park, Maryland State, and many other police departments rely on our services. About 8 years ago, we branched off into the sales and servicing of golf carts, Eastern Carts. Our customers include the U.S. Secret Service, Baltimore Ravens and their owner, Howard University, several Maryland prison systems, and hundreds of private individuals. The groundwork laid years ago to grow the cart business has come to fruition and business is increasing. However, we are losing a segment of customers asking for legally tagged low-speed vehicles. Currently, we can't fill this void because we lack the proper C4 zoning required by the Maryland MVA. Before the business is passed on to our family, we want to take care of the rezoning and MVA licensing. There will be no outward change to the business. The only thing that will change is that we can sell legal low-speed vehicles and do the tag and title work. I respectfully ask the council to support our local business, help us stay strong, and allow the zoning change. We can't continue to lose customers to low-speed vehicle dealers outside our area. Our establishment isn't flashy, and most people wouldn't guess the reach of our company, but we are proud of the business we've established for the last 30 years. Tim and I want to provide the family with a solid footing for the future and continue being an asset to our community. Thank you.
What is a low-speed vehicle? Okay, I just want to clarify. Thank you. Patrick Owens? Yep.
Good evening, members of the County Council. My name is Patrick Owen. I'm here on behalf of Council Bairdell, Cosmerl, and Nolan, PA, representing Crofton Management 2, LLC. As Ms. James just stated, we're here in support of rezoning application CZR5GAM 0600, which is amendment number 2 to tonight's bill. The property is owned by Crofton Management and is operated by Susan along with her husband, Mr. Tim Whitmore. They are multi-generational family-owned businesses that are preparing to transition to the next generation. They've been operating out of this location since 1997, and as Ms. James stated, they serve a variety of both local residents and public agencies. This rezoning application is straightforward. It brings the zoning of this property into alignment with how it's actually been used for decades. The property is designated commercial under Plan 2040, and the requested C4 zoning is fully consistent with that designation, as well as the existing surrounding commercial character of the Staples Corner area. The business currently operates under a decades-old non-conforming use status. This application corrects that mismatch by replacing the non-conforming use status with zoning that accurately reflects the existing operations, advancing a key goal of Plan 2040. Importantly, this is not a request to intensify or fundamentally change the use of the property. Rather, it's a request to legitimize what's already there and allow the business to continue operating and evolving responsibly. As Ms. James stated, the rezoning will also allow Eastern Performance to sell, tag, and title low-speed vehicles, which are increasingly in demand as efficient, community-friendly transportation options. To do that, C4 zoning is required so that these vehicles can be sold with tags and title per the MVA. This change provides clear public benefits by supporting a long-standing local business, enables continued service to numerous government and community organizations, removes non-conforming use, and aligns the property with the county's comprehensive plan. Thank you for your time and for your support.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Ms. Catherine Fleshman?
My name is Kathy Fleshman. I live at 1280 Meyer Station Road, Odenton, Maryland. I am a resident and homeowner in the Forks of the Patuxent, which is part of the Two Rivers, the Region 5 General Development Plan under the Two Rivers. I do not wish to see any further residential development in this immediate area, and the royal character of the area outside of Two Rivers site should be maintained. I am in favor of the Bill 1826 with the N and O parcels to remain open space. We do not want any more residential. The county planning and zoning did not properly plan ahead for the Two Rivers Massive Project. Now we have a lot of issues there. We do not have proper adequate facilities to support the amount of traffic generated from the number of homes built already, 2,060. Now we are left with, the developer wants to add new homes. In addition, we also have a new school to deal with. Our beautiful forests have been destroyed. Our wildlife no longer have homes. Our ponds, natural streams have been severely impacted by bad stormwater management planning. Our residents' properties are being flooded and vegetation, which helps to stop flooding, is gone. We need to conserve what open space is left in this area. The county should ensure that the developers concentrate on providing more recreational amenities for residents, not more buildings. Thank you.
All right, you all may return to your seats. At this time, is there anyone else who would like to speak on bills 1726 and 1826? Please come forward at this time. Please come forward. We have 6 seats. So if you still like to speak, please come forward at this time. All right, this will be the last call for 1726 and 1826. Last call. Yep. You're good. Say it again. I'm not sure if I'm correct. Yes. You want to speak on this bill? I want to speak on. I think you're good. This is that legislation. All right. Sir, we're going to start from the right and then move to the left.
Okay, my name is John Holler, and I'm in the Don facility residence of Two Rivers. I pretty much want the open space. We're basically at whatever Two Rivers originally said we're going to be. A lot of the infrastructure that exists in support of the community has been built. We're going to add 20% more people. We're going to add 20% more needs. It doesn't exist. The infrastructure needs to be rebuilt. The roads are going to be changed, but that's a 3-year plan. It's a 2-year plan to build the houses. I'd like to see what they promised the residents. Right now, we worry about water pressure. We worry about water being available. We're going to have 20% more use. We have schools that are at capacity. They're going to be expanded. Kids are going to have to be bused. The electric needs, the road needs, the school needs, the water needs, infrastructure in general. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, please state your name and address for the record in 2 minutes.
Hello, I'm Barbara Klotz, and I'm a resident of Two Rivers since 2018. My biggest concern about the new houses is that the infrastructure, clubhouse, pool, and especially the roads are very inadequate. There was a situation a couple of years ago where Conway Road, the only road in and out of the subdivision, was closed from an electrical line on the road. I mean, that really is unconscionable. I just can't imagine any more residents in the area. I think it's unsafe at this situation because of the roads. There is no question. Let's face it, everybody wants more taxes, I get it, but the quality of life for the current thousands of people that live there will be detrimentally affected. I'm not against development. I just find the project is grossly poorly planned. I understand, it's about the money, but it has to be better planned, that's all. And the road, and it's pretty simple. More roads, wider roads, analyze the schools, another clubhouse, just consider the whole thing. Another subdivision, how are they going to get in and out? They can't use our roads. They're already overcrowded. So, that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Actually, he was up here first.
No, I was going from right to left.
Okay.
I'm actually the owner of 2419 Blooming Way. That OPZ was originally considering changing to R5. And as of March 2nd, I believe they changed that recommendation to R1. Where I sit in the subdivision of Four Seasons, and all of the homes around me, the entire neighborhood is R5, with the exception of some properties that border mine were zoned RA, and they're 7,000 square foot lots. My property has been zoned RA as well, but yet I'm a part of a subdivision that's R5. My property is 2.17 acres. So from what I understand, if I were to remain RA, that's one home per 20 acres. So I never qualified for RA to begin with. And I'm here to advocate for the R5 that OPZ originally recommended, due to the fact that it matches what the neighborhood is. And in 2007, I had a feasibility study done because I was told by Anne Arundel County back then when I met with the planner of the day that my property was a mistake in the zoning that I received. And at any given time, I could reach out to the county and request a zoning change. So in 2007, I did a feasibility study. I did, with R5, it's up 10 to 12 houses. I don't want 10 to 12 houses on my property, but I did the feasibility study with 4 and then 6. And the reason being for my kids, to be able to provide for them affordable housing and or my parents that are in their 80s now to put a house, like a single family home where I can care for them instead of putting them in a nursing home. So I don't know if I'm allowed to give you this documentation. I've tried to get it to you guys. I sent it to Julie Hummer, but she wouldn't speak to me. So I thought I'd bring some copies today that show the feasibility of it. The only question I have that I've not been able to get any help with is the access to the property, understanding whether it's adequate or not for R1 or R5. Because if it's not, then leave me RA, because what's the point of changing it if it doesn't fall within the guidelines of accessibility? But nobody seems to be able to give me an answer to that question or help me with it. So I would also like some guidance there, in addition to what I've submitted today.
Thank you. Thank you.
May we have your name for the record, please?
Patty Shunny.
And sir, your name and address for the record?
Yes, sir. My name is Fred Circo, and I am Patty's neighbor. I look up to her. She is on a hill, an overlook, a bluff. It's a beautiful piece of property. I've talked to you 100 times about it. And I've been there for 40 years now. Bought the house when I was 21. And like I said, all of us houses look up to her. She has a beautiful 2-story house, and she wants to change it. Like she said, her house at the end of a street, a 90-degree right-hand turn. You have one fire hydrant at the base of our street, Blooming Way. Her house caught on fire years ago, 10, 12 years ago, something like that. It was horrific. I was one called 911. The fire truck can't make it up the street. Very hard. I was there. I was directing the line, the hoses, to come down the hill up to her house. We have it on video and everything. Terrible. Anyways, I ask you to leave it alone. Don't let her build anything else. According to your plan here, the change to R1 zoning is consistent with Plan 2040 goal. The neighborhood preservation development policy area complements or blends with the existing built and planned character. Preservation is to preserve, to leave it alone. Don't let her put any more homes on top of the bluff with the erosion, the bulldozers, the chainsaws, and this will not complement or blend with the existing character of the whole Four Seasons development. Leave it alone. It's beautiful. I'd have loved to have first right of refusal, but didn't get it from the previous owner. But anyways, thank you very much. I yield back.
Thank you. No, I'm sorry, man. We already had your 2 minutes. Public, please return to your seats. Public testimony on Bill 1726 and Bill 1826 is now closed. All right. All right, Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill 1726 and 1826.
Bill number 1726, an ordinance concerning General Development Plan, Region 5 Plan, and Bill number 1826, an ordinance concerning Comprehensive Zoning, Region 5.
Any further discussion before we move forward with amendments? Seeing no lights. There will be some back and forth between bills in order to keep the new amendments about the same properties together. There is one amendment to Bill 1726 and 3 amendments to Bill 1826. Madam Secretary, for the upcoming amendments requiring signs, for at least 10 days before this legislative session were signs posted on the subject property and was notice of the proposed change of zoning posted to the County Council website.
Yes, it was.
Madam Secretary, please read Amendment Number 1 to Bill 1826.
Amendment number 1 to Bill number 1826. This amendment changes the zoning of the property known as Parcel 131 on Tax Map 21, located at 1852 Jackson Grove Road, Odenton, from W2 Light Industrial to W3 Heavy Industrial.
All right, Ms. Pickard.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. This amendment, you heard some testimony from the property owners this evening, or their representative, I should say, is in regard to property 1852 Jackson Grove Road in Odenton. This property is an existing concrete batching plant that has operated at this location since 1988 and wants to continue this use. It is located just to the northwest of the intersection of Route 32 and Telegraph Road with railroad tracks at the western edge of the property. The existing zoning is W2, and as are the surrounding parcels. They were informed by the Office of Planning and Zoning that they require W3 for their existing operation to be permitted use and to continue operation. I am proposing this amendment to rectify the non-conforming use status, and I ask for my colleagues' support, and please move the amendment.
Is there a second?
Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Mark Wildonger.
Okay.
Good evening. Mark Wildonger, Office of Planning and Zoning. So to follow up even further, the site is approximately 29 acres. It's just north of the Odenton Town Center. Again, there are certain other man-made features that bound this property, Amtrak, as well as Maryland 32. The planned land use is industrial and the property is zoned W2 and OS. Again, we heard about the existing use being a concrete production facility on or around 1988. And the owner has recently applied for 20-year use under the county's non-conforming use provisions in the code. But again, it's unclear in the application if the application would meet all those tests to establish the 20-year use. So in order to continue the use and operations, the owners have requested this change to zoning, to zone it to W3, which is the only district that would allow the manufacturing of concrete as a permitted use. The site did not apply for a change during the Region 5 process, and OPZ recommended the site to be zoned entirely to W2, as it's currently split zone W2 and OS. OPZ does not object to this amendment.
Any other discussion? All right, Madam, did you want to?
Oh, no.
Please call the roll. Please call the roll on Amendment Number 1 to Bill Number 1826.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Hummer's absent, and Mr. Smith.
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Amendment number 1 to Bill number 1826 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read Amendment Number 2 to Bill Number 1826.
Amendment number 2 to Bill number 1826. This amendment changes the zoning of the property known as Parcel 61 on Tax Map 43, located at 1318, 1320, and 1324 Defense Highway Gambrels, from C1 Local Commercial to C4 Highway Commercial.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Eastern Performance, who's one of the owners you heard from tonight, has been a family-owned and operated business at the same location for almost 30 years, since 1997. They operate under a W2 industrial non-conforming use. A change to C4 will eliminate that non-conforming use and give the family a solid foundation on which they can continue to operate their business in the years to come. They hope for it to remain a family business for as long as possible.
This is not an expansion or an intensification of use. This is a recognition of a long-standing existing use of the property. Of note on this particular property, this application was supported by a favorable vote of both the SAC and PAB. Motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. Hunt?
Going to turn it over again to Mr.
Oh,
Wildanger.
I'm sorry, yes. Wiedemeyer, muscle memory.
Mark Wildanger, Office Planning and Zoning. The subject property consists of approximately 1.2 acres. The addresses for the property on this one lot are 1318, 1320, and 1324 Defense Highway. It's situated at the Staples Corner Commercial Center at the intersection of Defense Highway and Davidsonville Road. And like we heard, it includes a commercial motorcycle equipment business. The planned land use for the property is commercial. The existing zoning is C1. During the Region 5 planning process, OPZ reviewed a comprehensive zoning application to rezone the site from C1 to C4 to accommodate business operations and future expansion of those businesses on the site. Based on early public feedback related to Staples Corner in general, people were concerned about the intensification of use and potential for more traffic at that intersection. OPZ recommended retaining C1 zoning. There was specific public feedback that strongly favored the C4 request for this property as a means to support a local business. Thus, the SAC and PAB recommended C4. OPZ does not object to this amendment.
Any, Mr. Vogel?
I'm confused by that. So it went through PAB and SAC, and both of them said that this should go to C4, but then you all recommended it at C1 in the planned land use that came in, and now we have to amend it up to C4?
So there would be no change to the planned land use.
I got you, the zoning.
Right. So just for zoning, again, we took a conservative approach based on the feedback that we received not only from the Plan 2040 process, but also during this Region 5 planning process where the surrounding homeowners voiced their concern about any intensification in this area. During the feedback process, where we did receive a lot of public comment, individuals identified themselves as customers. So whenever we see public feedback, there's always, how do you define community? Is community the clients? Is community the vested property owners?
Yeah.
Right. So again, we try to balance those concerns that we've heard from those that actually are living in that area. And so we took that approach to maintain it at C1, recognizing that they do also have that non-conforming use that allows them to continue their business as it operates today.
It just seems odd that SAC and PAB would say C4, then you guys come in and say C1, and then now we're having to do this whole dance to take it back up to C4. And I'm like, I'm assuming that no one reached their position haphazardly, so there's got to be some justification. That's what I'm trying to understand. And then you're sitting here today saying, even though we brought it in as C1, now we've decided we agree it should be C4. It just, I feel a bit of whiplash about this.
Christina Pompa with the Office of Planning and Zoning. I don't think we said we agree. We said we don't oppose.
You don't, okay, all right, so to be clear. So then accepting that as your position, the fact that you don't oppose it, what is the actual position of Office of Planning and Zoning? Do you think it would be better as C1, or do you think it'd be better as C4?
I mean, Mr. Volke, you just heard very compelling statements by the property owner and business owner.
I heard, yeah.
And I think she very eloquently stated the facts related to her business. I think that this one, over time, there was more support that built over time for this.
Okay.
Especially at the PAB hearing.
Yeah, and recognizing that during this process, we did receive some more information about the tag and title process, reviewing the application that the state has for that additional aspect of their business.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that seems crazy. The fact that MVA requires a tag and title place to be in C4 just doesn't make any sense. Like, it almost seems like you could attack this problem from two angles. You could come at it from state law and you could say, hey, let's try to change the MVA process, or you can change the zoning. I assume both of them have wide-ranging impacts. This one may be more localized in terms of the impact. I guess just in hearing this whole problem. It seems like there's problems all around. So, all right, thank you.
All right, seeing no additional lights, please call the roll on amendment number 2.
Ms. Rodbian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Abstain.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer is absent. Mr. Smith?
Aye.
We have 5 in the affirmative, 1 abstention, and 1 absent. So amendment number 2 to bill number 1826 has been adopted.
Secretary, please read amendment number 1 to bill number 1726.
Amendment number 1 to bill number 1726. This amendment changes a portion of the planned land use for the property known as parcel 274 on tax map 36, located at 1079A Maryland Route 3 North Lane, Gambrels, from residential low medium density to commercial.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Ledbetter.
Yep.
Yes, and then I'm...
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, we all heard tonight from the owners of this particular parcel who told us about their dream of opening a historic car restoration business. This would be a small business that would contribute to the local economy without adding significant traffic to Route 3. C4 is the only zoning designation that would allow for this particular type of business use. This property, if you take a look at the map, it's a flag-shaped lot. It is solidly within the Route 3 core, which is a major commercial corridor where the county has developed growth and development. The flag shape leaves it with very limited frontage on Route 3, making it a poor fit for uses with high levels of ingress and egress, or something that requires high levels of visibility. The community has, along the Route 3 corridor, has been very consistent over time in opposing increased residential density. And this property is currently split zone between the commercial and the residential. Considering the community, the wider communities along that Route 3 corridor's concerns about continuing to add residential density, this, to me, is a good fit. We're meeting and facilitating the lifelong dream of current community owners, current property owners, while also addressing the wider concern about ever increasing residential density along Route 3 that feeds into, I think, a concern that the community has about school capacity, about infrastructure. We heard the testimony tonight from folks who do live near that corridor. So motion to adopt.
Second.
Mark Wildunger, Office of Planning and Zoning. So this is a property, it's 3.12 acres. It's a flag lot, again, located at 1079 Maryland 3 North Lane. And I'll also mention that our comments for this planned land use amendment are also going to be then similar to the subsequent zoning amendment that we'll hear. So again, this property is accessible only via its frontage on Maryland 3. The property abuts this residential neighborhood to the southeast. The property is currently split zoned C2 and R5 with the existing C2 following a line established for other C2 zoning along Maryland 3. A portion of the flag stem is zoned C2 and the rest of the property is zoned R5 again towards the rear. The final draft Region 5 plan recommends the development policy area for this property be changed from neighborhood preservation to critical corridor development policy area due to the property's access on Maryland 3. The site is designated as commercial and low-medium density residential, planned land use in Plan 2040, and the property's current use is a residential dwelling and other site improvements. During the Region 5 Planning Advisory Board review process, OPZ received a comprehensive zoning application to rezone the property to C4. The SAC did not have an opportunity to review the application because it was submitted after the SAC had concluded their work. The PAB recommended maintaining this R5-C2 split. OPZ also recommended maintaining the existing split to prevent the intensification of commercial uses along this portion of Maryland 3 until after a study of the corridor is completed. There are C2 and R5 zone parcels on either side of the property, and its shape only allows for development to occur within the area surrounded by land and developed as low to medium density residential uses, again, towards the southeast. Rezoning to C4 could introduce uses that would be incompatible with that surrounding area. So for these reasons, OPZ opposes this amendment.
Additional comments from council members? All right. Madam Secretary.
Sorry, Mr. Vice Chair, what were the, where was SAC and PAB on this?
So this application came in during the PAB planning process. So by that time, the SAC had
So there
concluded, and the PAB had recommended a split, maintaining the existing zoning.
Okay, so if I'm looking at the map here, these two R5, you said you could not develop those parcels. Did I hear that correctly?
No, so again, those do have the property just that's closer to Maryland 3 on the north side. That does have a structure on it and could be, developed per the zoning. I'm referring mostly to the subdivision to the southeast that this property would back up to, where there would not be a buffer available. So where there is it's Elsa Court to the rear.
Is that this little?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So the concern would be the intensification to C4 abutting these established R5 residences. And the idea further is there is a recommendation to take that area sort of to the southeast where that commercial zoning district line is into a critical corridor development policy area so that we could further study a lot of these flag lots, some of these residential uses along these dead-end roads to see what the best zoning or vision is for development in this area moving forward.
Mr. Volkin?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, or Mr. Vice Chair, serving as Mr. Chair. So just to make sure that I understand this correctly, because I want to get your position clear, you all are at this moment opposed to this amendment as it sits, but you understand that if there is a corridor study completed, that it may justify rezoning of this property. Did I understand you correctly, or did I miss anything?
It gives us that opportunity to work a little bit more closely with this community, including those residents at that subdivision to the south.
Thank you. And then this may be a question that you know, or it may be for our administrative officer, but where were the signs posted on this?
So the requirement is along public right-of-ways.
Right, so they put it out on Route 3?
They would not have needed a sign for this application because they came in during the planning advisory board phase.
Oh, I see. I got you. So they weren't completely at the end. They got into the PAB.
Exactly.
So that's why. Okay, got you. So is there anything to suggest? Have we heard anything from the people on Elsa Court that back up to this, or any of the other surrounding property owners?
We have not.
And if I'm understanding correctly, the only way that those people would know that this had been proposed and was being considered would be if they had taken time to go review this plan, because there was no public notification required on any of this.
At the planning advisory board or at any of the outreach events, any mailers that we had sent out to the community at the start of this process.
They would or would not have gotten those? They would have gotten them at the start.
They would have gotten them at the
been
start,
in
but they would
time.
not about this process occurring, but not
Yeah.
this specific property.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Could, what is the existing use at this property?
Residential.
So currently it's strictly residential?
As we understand, yes.
So there's no commercial activity, no business activity?
As it was stated in the application, it's a residential use.
You can see I'm struggling with this one.
Please.
Can y'all help me out with why a sign wasn't required before this amendment has been brought forward? I know this is the last of 9 region plans, but it seems folks that have come in for rezonings, other amendments that didn't go through SAC or PAB, didn't they have to put a sign out?
Christina Pompa with the Office of Planning and Zoning. Essentially, the way the sign regulations work in the code, if you had applied somewhere during the process and we said no, and the draft map was submitted to council with the legislation, with zoning that OPZ supported that wasn't in support of the application, and the applicant came to the council and they applied for the exact same zoning that they applied to OPZ for, then they don't need a sign. But sometimes, like we've had applicants who applied for C4, but then they, maybe they talked to their council person and they decided I should actually apply for C2. In that case, they need a sign when they go for a different zoning district. But if they were in as part of the process, now it's complicated because when you come in at the very beginning, the public has a longer time to review everything, to chew on it. When you start to come in later, like at the Planning Advisory Board, there is less time to understand whether or not an application has been made. And it's possible that your residents decided that, they didn't see anything bad if they looked early. They're not going to look again, and then something does come in.
Please continue.
So thank you for that clarification. It reminds me, I know this sort of zoning issue reminds me of other parts of the county where we have thin commercial corridors that immediately abut residential. I think of that, there's a lot of that in District 2 that I represent, and I know we've struggled with these for different reasons, so this is definitely complicated. Anyways, just wanted to.
Do you, thank you. Do you happen to know, off the top of your head, the setbacks for C4 that abuts residential lots? Because I know that there are setbacks for the more intense commercial zones that abut residential lots.
Christina Pompa with OPZ, no, but we can look it up.
Okay.
Thank you. So just going back to the sector study for a second, or the corridor study. So what's the timing on that? What does that look like in terms of the actual ability? Because I'm empathetic to the idea that you have a piece of property that is on Route 3, which is a very busy road that is largely a commercial road, and you want to use your property to do something that is a more commercial type use, understanding it's currently residential. So I'm empathetic to that. But my concern is the creep that comes out of this. And so I think to the point that OPZ is talking about with a sector or a corridor study, that gives you the ability to have more controls on that. What's the timing on that? What does that look like in terms of any possible resolution of this issue if it were not passed this evening?
Christina Pompa with the Office of Planning and Zoning. That is not in our work program at this time.
Okay, so that means it's not on your radar. So if it were to get on your radar, what does that look like? What's the lag time before it comes on the radar? And then once it's on the radar, what's the time to get something deliverable?
I would say that a corridor study would not be done any sooner than a year, and it would probably be longer.
Okay, okay.
Because it's similar to a region plan where you do lots of outreach and there's a process.
And it's a big corridor. It's a very intense corridor. I understand that too. Like, we have heard from many, many, many people about the Route 3 corridor, so we get that. Is there any plan to move a Route 3 corridor study into the OPZ workload once we are through region plans? Do we know where that's, or is that a next administration question? I can look to my colleagues.
Christina Pompa with the Office of Planning and Zoning. So right now, long-range planning is transitioning because we're finishing the region plans. And we have come up with a work program.
Okay.
And we have been talking about that with the director. We do have what we consider are some exciting things on the horizon, but it's not all out public yet.
I don't want you to get over your skis.
Thank
I'm just
you,
trying to
Mr. Volpe.
understand for the, obviously the property owners, if this doesn't go through for them, it's extremely disappointing and it's frustrating to go through the process and to not get, I get that. So I'm trying to figure out, is there any kind of like shining light in the distance that might give them some hope that this could at least be revisited before another 15 years or whatever it takes for us to go through these plans again? Hopefully not 15. I know it's supposed to be 8, but we'll see.
Right. I mean, personally, I'd like to see it happen before 15 years. As you know, Plan 2040 had about 600 goals, policies, and strategies in it. The region plans have added additional goals and strategies, some of which are more pinpointed now, right, since going through this finer process. But it's still a very large work program. And we are going to have an administration change. So that can also change some of the priorities.
Sounds like a lot of to be determined.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Thank you. I actually have Ms. Pompa, I have the answer if you would like to pause. I had asked Mr. Wildonger for it previously. And so I can, if you want to read it or if you have it, I could read what. Offering to be the phone the friend.
Yeah, so for C4, the minimum setback for a principal structure for the rear lot line is 20 feet.
And there is the accessory structures on the side or sorry, reading the wrong thing. Regardless of the commercial zoning district, per the landscape manual, section 4B2, any proposed commercial uses would be subject to a Class A 15-foot wide perimeter buffer to adjacent existing residential or public open space area uses planted at 1 PU per 15 linear feet with a 3-foot to 6-foot year-round screen.
So the PU is a plant unit.
Thank you.
But that's
Clarifying.
within 15, a 15-foot buffer on the property line.
You good, Ms. Ledbetter?
Oh.
Ms. Rodvian?
I want to, for the sake of the property owners, I want to find a way to get there, but I really do feel like we're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole here. So I'm trying to think of like other avenues. So I feel like even C2 might be a more reasonable ask here. And I'm wondering if what we've got coming down, coming down the pike with the, thank you, Article 18, my brain's a little foggy still. Article 18, if this type of business could be, created as like a special exception or, in like a C2, which would be, I think, at least more in line with, I feel like there's a better case, with all the C2 around, and it still has the access from Route 3. You make there's a stronger case for C2. I'm looking for paths there that don't require C4.
Christina Pompa with the Office of Planning and Zoning. I think one of the issues is that C2, so C1 is our neighborhood commercial, C2 is our office commercial, C3 is general, and C4 is our highway commercial. Most of the heavier automotive uses are in the C4, whether it be auto repair, like the use that the couple wants to do, which is they want to restore old cars. Those are generally more appropriate in the C4. I don't know that they would be compatible in the C2, possibly in C3. I cannot speak to the, there has been discussion about the Article 18 amendment. I know that that has been delayed. I also don't know if the current draft would speak to this or not.
But we could always make it speak to this if we decided we wanted to. I mean, obviously, we would want your feedback and input on that.
That's correct. And I will not have the lead on that legislation for OPZ. Ms. Miller will. I can tell by the questions that you all have some potentially differences of opinion here. It is the very first night that we're hearing Region 5. And I think we would have 3 more public hearings.
Yeah, I think the bill
potentially.
expires June 5th.
There's plenty of time.
This is the first public hearing.
Ms. Fiedler, were you done? Ms. Riley?
Oh, I'm good, yeah. I'm honestly, I think I'm probably struggling the same way my colleagues are. Like, we want to find a path to get there, but this, I mean, please, I would like to hear from my colleagues too. Share your thoughts.
Ms. Fiedler?
Thank you. I don't even know if this is possible, but would the administration support a split zoning that would allow for residential on the back portion that would create a buffer, but allow C4 up until a certain point that would allow the property owners to do what they are interested in doing? And I know I'm asking this with no advance warning.
That would certainly be, that would be an option. This is Ms. Ledbetter's amendment.
Yeah. Okay. I'm also tossing around ideas because it's a compelling story. And I think that some of us want to get there.
Right. And generally, OPZ is not a fan. So we're not a fan of arbitrary split zoning. Now, a lot of these properties on Route 3 are split zone because they drew a line. You know, we're going to go X number of feet from Maryland 3, and that's going to be your C2 commercial zone. I think if you want to look at a different split on residential versus commercial, the C4, I don't know that I have Cindy's got her light, Ms. Carrier has her light on.
I mean, my concern would be access. How would you access that residential area? There's a very narrow driveway that would then, if you put the commercial in the front, you'd have the residential. I don't know. I guess it depends if they live there. I don't know.
And the other thing is, we can't do contract zoning in Maryland where you would say, we could zone this C4, but you must leave a 30-foot buffer. We don't do that in Maryland. So that's not an option. I don't feel that's an option. Ms. Blair Klassmeyer may be.
Mr. Volkey?
Yeah, thank you. So I think what it's going to wind up being, in my mind, is I don't think it's a split zone. I think it's a text amendment. I think that's where you're going to have to get to do it. Because otherwise, you're calling the property split zoned is accurate, but is also not the whole picture, right? Clearly, the part that's split zoned is the driveway. Everything beyond there turns into the larger part of the property. That's why it's a 3.1 acre parcel and 2.5 acres are being rezoned. So my question for OPZ is this. Under the commercial portion of the code, there are a couple of automotive uses. We've got automobile and truck detailing shops, dismantling and recycling facilities, repair and painting facilities, rental establishments, towing yard. Which one of these would you all consider this use, classic car restoration? Is it most like repair and painting facilities, which is permitted in C4? Is that why we're talking about going to C4? I'm in the use chart, sorry, in 185102.
We're there too. We're looking
Okay,
at it.
Yep. Just trying to think if we could allow that use in a very limited capacity in certain residentially zoned properties with like a special exception and some additional requirements on it, which would not be rezoning the property, but it would create a path. I'm not saying you got to agree to it right now. I'm just floating these as like ideas. But to what Mr. Smith said, I mean, regardless of what happens, we have a couple more meetings to keep talking about this.
While they look at that, Ms. Ledbetter, did you want to weigh in?
I
To
just,
keep us.
in the conversation that was going back based on Ms. Fiedler's idea about the split zoning, I heard someone mention a concern about access. But isn't that, for the sake of clarification, not as a justification? Already, the only access to this property, to the residential part, is through the commercial driveway. So if there was a split zone, like Ms. Fiedler had suggested, where residential was only in the back, the driveway would still be commercial like it is now. So if it's not a problem now, then it wouldn't be a problem then? Would that, I just want to make sure I'm understanding what was said.
If there were two uses on the property.
So
A
it could
commercial
become a
use
problem
as
if
well
there
as
were
a
two.
residential use. There was a residential use in the back. I mean, right, it just depends on how you draw the line potentially, but I think you'd still be accessing your residential area through the commercial.
So would it be fair to say that right now it's not a problem because in the commercially zoned portion of this flag lot, there is no commercial use? And so that's why it's not an issue as it stands? I'm just trying to make all that make sense.
I wonder who drew these lot lines back in the day. They drew these lot lines? Oh my God.
So
Cindy Carrier, sorry, Office of Planning and Zoning. I don't know, Ms. Blair Klausmeyer might be able to answer whether or not this is actually a problem as far as non-conforming accessing a residential through a zoning, through the commercial zoning. We've been up here with other cases where it's the opposite. You had one in
Right.
Region 9, but I don't know about vice versa. I do know that it would probably be problematic by accessing a residential home through the commercial.
if there was a
business
commercial
area.
use taking place, that was the differentiation. I'm seeing Ms. Klausmeyer nodding her head.
Yeah, I mean, it is, I'm not 100% sure on the answer to that question. We can certainly kind of take a look at that, but what I was pointing out is that what appears to be the residence is actually closer to Route 3 portion of the lot than in the back portion of the lot, which is what if you were doing a split zoning, you would want the residential part to be in the other half. Now, that doesn't mean you couldn't draw a line, but I'm just pointing out, based on what I'm seeing on the actual map and assuming that that is the house. But that's just.
And so I got a question. The properties that are adjacent to the left and I guess north, they have a similar sort of dynamic where the one that's directly to the left has residential to the, is that south of it? And then there's a narrow passageway and then the commercial on the other side. Could a house be built on that property to the left? You see that? It's like a,
One that's marked R5.
yeah, it's directly to the left of the, where this, I wish I had a. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Oh, you can't see that from up here anyway, but I was going to try. Yes, yes.
Well, the one to the right has the same.
Correct. But
Right.
I'm saying in this instance, since it's very similar to the current situation of the current homeowner of the property that we're discussing, the one to the left is residential and could a house be built on that parcel?
I'm not quite sure where
It
the
looks-
access is to that parcel.
Right, because it looks like it's about at least 2 acres maybe on that portion.
Mm-hmm.
So in theory, could a house be built on that?
I guess it depends on where if there's access, right? I'm not sure, I don't know enough about the driveway to know whether that's a shared driveway. Can't tell from this.
Got it. All right, Mr. Vokey?
Did the neighbors on Elsa Court get a mailing that this was being requested as part of the application when it came in before the Planning Advisory Board considered it?
Christina Pompa with the Office of Planning and Zoning. We do not mail to the neighbors to say that an application has come in. We do a mailing at the very beginning of the process to every property owner in the region. And then we do a subsequent mailing to all property owners before Planning Advisory Board to alert them that we're starting into, the recommendation process and public hearings.
Okay, I'm just trying to rectify information that's being provided to me contemporaneously with this discussion, that there was a mailing to the people on Elsa Court that this was happening, and I'm trying to understand, did that happen or not?
A general mailing that the Region 5 planning process and comprehensive zoning process were going to commence, and that the Planning Advisory Board process was about to commence.
But there was no specific notice to the people on Elsa Court to say your abutting property owner is looking to rezone from R5 to C4?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, there's any additional questions?
No.
I think I was the second on the motion to adopt. I just wanted to ask the sponsor if there was any interest in stepping back or if we wanted to do the roll call.
I'm certainly open to further discussions and revisiting this. At the same time, I do feel like the property owners have put in time and effort into this, and I think they deserve to have a vote. I respect my colleagues, in the decision that you make, considering all of this information. This is hard. These are hard decisions. There are not always super easy answers. But I do think they came down, they spoke, they've put in a lot of, effort into this. I think they should know what the will of the council tonight is. And if it means that there needs to be a drop back and punt, then so be it. But I think for them to sleep at night, I think it would be a lot better for them to have an answer, whatever that answer might be from this council.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 1 to Bill 1726.
Ms. Radbian?
I'm going to just explain my vote, and I have a feeling I have some colleagues that may do something similar. I'm going to vote nay, but I really want to look for a path because I think we all want to support. I'm getting that there's support for figuring out a way to make this happen, but this particular amendment isn't the right way to do it. So I'm going to vote nay with the optimism that we'll find a path.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
I'm sorry? Aye, thank you. Mr. Volkey?
Yeah, for a lot of the same reasons as Ms. Rodby and nay.
Ms. Fiedler?
Unfortunately, nay.
And Ms. Hummer is absent. Mr. Smith?
Aye.
3 in the affirmative, 1 absent, and 3 in the negative. So amendment number 1 to bill number 1726 has been defeated.
Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 3 to Bill 1826.
I don't believe we need to move forward with
Oh.
the zoning if the land use hasn't changed, but I could be, you can't, right.
Just read the
It's up
script.
to the sponsor.
No, I will, I don't think it's necessary to offer that amendment.
Okay.
Respect for the council's time.
Mr. Vice Chair, we would need to motion to hold bill number 1726 until April 20th, since an amendment did not go forward with that bill this evening.
All right, motion to hold Bill 1726 and 1826 till April 20th.
Just the 17th,
I'm
or
sorry,
just 1726.
17, read me 1726. Is there a second? Second. Let's call the roll.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Hummer is absent, and Mr. Smith?
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 absent. The motion to hold bill number 1726 until April 20th has passed.
And we don't have to do anything with 18.
18, we can just say that bill number 1826 as amended will be heard again on
Okay.
April 20th, 2026.
All right, Bill 1826 as amended will be heard again on April 20th, 2026. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1926.
Bill number 1926, an ordinance concerning finance, taxation, and budget, real property taxes, credits, credit for daycare or childcare property improvements.
Okay. I was just giving them a little second
Yeah.
to sort of exit the chambers. All right, we're going to start on Bill number 1926. Ms. Ravian.
Thank you. So this bill is basically the county's implementation of legislation that was passed by the state, acknowledging that it is a strong need for childcare, additional childcare services in the state of Maryland and absolutely in Anne Arundel County. Childcare businesses in particular, obviously this covers more than childcare businesses. It covers adult daycare as well. But I think the real impetus behind this was the need for childcare in the state. They operate on a very, very thin profit margin. The salaries of folks who work in childcare are, barely, they're hanging in there. I'm sorry, I have the screen pulled up here where I was, of course I lost it because I have too many tabs open. But the folks are, if you're working in a childcare business, you're in the $30,000 to $40,000, which I think we all know is a very tough salary to make it in Anne Arundel County or really anywhere in the state of Maryland, probably anywhere in the country at this point. So this just provides a little bit of help to childcare businesses to allow them to have a little bit more elbow room in a very high need area in a low profit margin. And I think about, I don't know, I know I've talked a lot about my experience as a teacher. I spent 1 semester teaching elementary, and in my semester teaching elementary, I had pre-K 4 through 5th grade, and I went running for the hills after one semester. I don't know how people do the job of teaching elementary education. I think they are incredibly underappreciated. The work is incredibly challenging, and I think it's become more challenging in our current, in the current state of affairs. I'm not sure what it is, but there's lots of emotional dysregulation going on in especially the really little people. And childcare obviously is getting that 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, well, probably 3 and 4-year-old mainly, age range where things have been particularly tough the past few years. So anyway, I ask for my colleagues' support to provide support to these businesses that are doing such important work, allow our economy to function, because if workers don't have childcare, then they can't be workers. So I ask for my colleagues' support, and I know there's some amendments from the administration, and they're friendly, and I look forward to going through those tonight.
Any questions from my colleagues? Mr. Volkey?
Yeah, so if I'm understanding this, this is a tax credit for the owner of the business, or this is for the people actually working, making $30,000 or $40,000 a year?
It's for the owner of the business, but
Okay.
the owner of the business is, the one operating on a very thin margin, and that might make the difference of, hey, can I hire a half-time employee, or, can I have this person working for a few more hours, or can I give them an extra dollar per hour? So,
Okay. I mean, I'm not conceptually, right? Everything you've said, I agree with. It's difficult to find people who are willing to do it. I think you know this, but my mother-in-law spent 40 years in early childhood education, like in Anne Arundel County Public Schools.
Bless her.
Yes, she's retiring this year. God bless her. So, but my point is, like, if we're looking at the people who are directly impacted, I would think it's the people working in that as opposed to whoever is the owner, because there's nothing in here that requires that the owner be an operator. They could be some entity from afar. It could be somebody who doesn't even live in the county but owns it and who's getting this property tax credit. And whether they pass that along to their employees or not, we have no say over. So I guess I'm just kind of like wondering, is this going to get to who we want to get it to? That's my question.
I think the owners themselves also need relief. I mean, like I said, in Maryland, in other places, childcare can be, a moderately profitable business. But in Maryland, with the cost of labor and the cost of land and the cost of doing business, especially in Anne Arundel County, it is thin, very thin profit margin. So even for the owner, in order for them to be willing to stay in business, this kind of relief really does make a difference.
Okay, I mean, I'll just add this to that. I pay for early childhood education, at a Goddard school in Anne Arundel County, and I know what I pay for that, and I know that, the costs have gone up over the last couple of years significantly. I guess I hear everything you're saying, but have we heard from property owners or daycare owners who have come in and said, I need this to be able to make things work?
Yes, that is why I bring this bill.
Okay, got you. I'd be interested if those people are out there listening. I would like to hear from you. Because to me, I've heard some of that from people, but it's more like home daycare providers, not necessarily institutional. Does that help these people too?
Absolutely.
Cool. That's good. That's good. Okay. Thank you.
And so for clarity for me, when I read this bill, I thought it was implying that they would receive a tax credit on improvements that they made to the facility. So if they enhanced or extended the amount of rooms, whatever, and they spent money, they could get a tax credit on the improvements. Am I reading that wrong, or?
I think, actually, let me turn it to our Office of Law, but I
the
think
bill is even property improvements.
Right, but I think that is actually broader than it sounds like. So I'll let Ms. Blair Klassmeyer chime in.
Lori Blair Klassmeyer, Deputy County Attorney. So it's true that the bill, as it currently stands, is written that way. The state enabling legislation is broader. It basically applies to that portion of the premises that's exclusively used for one of these facilities. And there are 4 different facilities. There is childcare, but there's also a childcare center, a daycare center for the elderly, a daycare center for adults, and a family child care home or large family child care home. So it goes beyond just childcare, but the enabling legislation and what this amendment that's ultimately coming would do is expand it to not just like if you add a room specifically for this, but it would be any part of the property that's used exclusively for one of these facilities. So if
So-
you have an existing, let's say you have an existing residence and you turn your basement into one of these, and your basement is 30% of your square footage, your credit would be based on 30% of your taxes.
Right, but then that next year, do they still get a
As long as
credit?
they continue to use it, well, under the enabling legislation and the amendment, it would be as long as they continue to use it exclusively for one of these.
Because the reason I'm bringing it up, so
Facilities.
when you read the calculation, the tax credit shall be calculated and credited based on the tax due on county road property for each improvement such that the credit may not exceed in each year the lesser of the 4,000, blah, 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 blah. But, so
As
when I read
written.
this, I was like, oh, yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Right, so
I mean,
as-
I'm okay with either, but I thought it was for enhancements to the facility.
And I think that's right. I think that as written, I agree. It would be just for the enhancement if you added on the room or you added on something. But I do think you would get it for the amount of time that you use that enhancement for the facility, under the way it's written. If that makes sense.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So for a commercial childcare or elder care facility, would you have to own your building and operate because I don't know if Goddard, for example, some of the commercial childcare, if they own the building they're in, if you don't own the building you're in, does the property owner get a property tax credit because they're leasing to a childcare center?
I'm going to defer to Office of Law on that one. I would think the answer would be yes. I don't know why they wouldn't.
That doesn't really help the childcare operator at all. It just helps the property owner.
Right, so the enabling legislation says it can grant a property tax credit against the property tax imposed on that portion of the real property. So it doesn't specify, make a difference between who owns it and who actually operates it. The state enabling legislation does not.
I mean, I think I understand the benefit to especially the in-home care provider using a portion of their home, and this would certainly encourage that. I just don't know that a commercial building owner that just happens to lease right now to a child care center, I don't think that savings is going to be passed on to the operator.
I don't know that the savings would necessarily be passed on to the operator, but it does create a big incentive to continue doing business with that operator. If that is, and it possibly can be passed on. I think it's like everything. The pieces are connected. And so, if it makes it easier to say, hey, I know you're operating on a really thin margin, but hey, I get this benefit out of it. And if you leave and I get a tenant that doesn't have this benefit, then that does impact me. So it facilitates the creation of, childcare businesses, even in that situation.
Well, the good thing is there's some amendments, because I tonight on this bill. Mr. Hunt, I don't see any other lights. Mr. Hunt, I'll turn it over to you.
Oh, just briefly, Ethan Hunt for the administration. I have Lori Blair Klossmeyer, Deputy County Attorney, and Brian Schenker, Financial Services Manager from the Office of Finance. There are a couple of amendments that we've offered, and we're happy to discuss them at the appropriate time.
Does the administration support the bill?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We will now open the public hearing on Bill 1926. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
No, we did not.
All right. Is no one signed up ahead of time? Is there anyone who wishes to speak on Bill 1926? Seeing no movement, public testimony is now closed. Public hearing on Bill 1926 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill 1926.
Bill number 1926, an ordinance concerning finance, taxation, and budget, real property taxes, credits, credit for daycare or childcare property improvements.
Please read amendment number 1.
Amendment number 1. This amendment comports the bill to the state enabling legislation.
Admin.
Thank you. So it does do that, but just to go into a little more detail. So the state enabling legislation has a few provisions that we thought are important to be reflected in the local law as well. So one, and you may remember I discussed these when this bill was discussed at the work session, but one is clarifying that it has to be a licensed facility, licensed under state law, either under the education article or the health article. So it has to be a licensed child care facility, daycare facility, or adult daycare facility. And then it also, I'm looking at it here, I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Clarifies that the credit is applicable to that portion of the property that is set aside and dedicated exclusively to that use. So I know Mr. Shank was nodding his head in agreement when you were discussing it earlier, but the tax credit is intended to apply to that area of the property that has that exclusive use. And then it also requires that evidence of licensure or registration that's required under state law be submitted with the application, and a statement under oath that it doesn't qualify for another tax credit. So happy to answer any questions on that, Lori. I hope I got everything.
Motion to adopt?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was ready to make a motion to adopt, but we got the second before I think there was a motion.
Oh, yeah, that
So
comes-
I'll make the, can I be the motion? I'll make the motion to adopt. Thank you,
Motion to
Mr.
adopt, you got the
Wilkie.
second. I don't know which light came on first. Okay.
Since we're talking in this amendment about the enabling legislation, does the state's enabling legislation allow for jurisdictions to provide this tax credit for residential but not leased commercial?
Lori Blair, Classmeyer, Deputy County Attorney. I do not see any reason why that could not be part of it.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no further lights, please call the roll on amendment number 1.
Ms. Radbian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Hummer's absent, and Mr. Smith?
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Amendment number 1 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 2.
Amendment number 2. This amendment sets a duration for the real property tax credit.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So what this amendment does, it clarifies that the credit shall terminate if the property owner, if the property is no longer being set aside and dedicated exclusively for use as a child care center, daycare center for adults, daycare center for the elderly, or family child care center, or if they have received the credit for 10 years.
Motion to adopt.
Was there a second? You said, or if they received it for 10 years, where's it at? Oh, I see it now, I'm sorry.
Yep.
You know, my eyes are getting. Any questions from our council? Mr. Volkey?
Thank you. Fully understand if they no longer are using the property, that the credit would go away. It seems like if you have to renew it every year, that would resolve that too, right? I mean, I think they're doing that annually.
Brian Shank, Office of Finance. This is very similar to other credits where they have to do it. Public safety officer immediately comes to mind where they're going to have to do every year. So every year they would have to reapply, show the evidence of the license, show the use of the property, and then we have an opportunity to verify that that was
So
actually.
it's a bit of belt and suspenders in the sense of we're saying it overtly, but implicitly in the bill, there already is a requirement that every year they have to renew. And if they couldn't meet the requirement, they're not going to get the credit.
Yeah, and this is similar to the other jurisdictions that have adopted as well.
What's the justification for the 10 years?
So that is a legal issue. You can't, these can't be perpetual. So 10 years is where we landed. It could be some other number, but it can't be a perpetual.
Because we just did this with the public safety officers
Correct,
where we
it's the
extended out to
same.
25, right? Okay.
And I
So
think
what
it's-
was the reason for landing at 10? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Or you can answer any question you want,
I'm just
please.
answering. No, I didn't, I mean, I don't know. Somebody, Ethan will have to answer that, but I was going to say that it is consistent. 10 years is consistent with some of the other credits that we have.
That is correct. Yeah, it's just sort of the standard that we go with is for 10 years. I mean, it can always be adjusted in the future before that 10 years expires. I know we've done that with some other credits as well. But.
Did you have anything, Ms. Ravian? I saw your light earlier. Okay. Okay. Seeing no other additional lights, please call the roll on amendment number 2.
Ms. Radvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Hummer is absent, and Mr. Smith.
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Amendment number 2 has been adopted.
All right, bill number 1926 as amended will be heard on April 20th, 2026. At this time, we will discuss the county executive's veto to amendment number 6 to bill number 226, comprehensive rezoning, Region 6, which this council passed on March 19th via the county charter. The county council may discuss or override any comprehensive zoning veto at its next legislative session following the veto, and which is why we are discussing it this evening. On April 2nd, the county executive sent the county council a letter issuing a veto to amendment number 6. The county executive's veto to amendment number 6 keeps the zoning of the property known as Parcel 42 on tax map 44 located at 1182 Honeysuckle Lane, Annapolis as RA Rural Agricultural. The amendment would change the property to RLD Residential Low Density. Does any council member wish to make a statement about this veto? I see Ms. Ravian's light is on.
Yeah. Yeah, I would actually like to make a motion to override this veto. I'm also looking, how was this transmitted to the council?
To the chair.
And then was it shared with the rest of the council?
I shared it with everyone on Thursday evening-ish after I received it after business hours closed.
Okay, I see it now. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I think we discussed, this is a property on Honeysuckle Lane. It's close to the Renaissance Festival. If you are going down General's Highway or up General's Highway, it's not too far from Ram's Head Roadhouse. It's a little bit north of there. Honeysuckle Lane is. You turn on Honeysuckle Lane. One of the reasons that I felt that this sort of zoning amendment that was requested by the property owner was appropriate, even though it was a little bit unusual, is because of the size of the property. So the neighboring properties are all RA, but they're closer to the size of a property that might otherwise be zoned RLD, meaning that this one RA property, because it was so much larger, does not have the same sort of lot sizes as the other properties along that street. They're more, the scale fits for that property because it's significantly larger than all of the others. It fits the RLD scale more than the RA scale, if that makes sense. So I ask for my colleagues' support.
Yeah, I do remember this. I think we all voted 7-0 on this one.
Yes.
Because it was the first time I think I had heard from the admin. I thought that the earth was going to end on the change that we had did. So that's why I remember this particular parcel.
And I understand I understand the point of view of admin and Office of Planning and Zoning. I mean, this does throw one parcel into a vicinity where there isn't anything like that. But sometimes, as we can see when we've discussed other pieces, that the rules don't quite make sense because of the situation that you're trying to apply them to. So that was why I felt that this was an appropriate rezoning to pursue.
Any other, seeing no additional lights? Madam Secretary, please call the roll on the motion to override the veto of amendment number 6 to bill number 226.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Hummer's absent, and Mr. Smith.
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 absent. The motion to override the veto has passed.
Bill number 226 as amended will go into effect on May 17th.
Oh, one moment. We actually need to vote on the amendment itself now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped again. We do?
We do. Now you're voting on the amendment itself.
Okay.
You took up the motion to override the veto, but now we're
Oh,
talking
got
about
it, got
the
it, got it.
amendment
Okay,
itself.
Okay, yeah,
Make sense?
it does.
All right, great.
All right, so please call the roll on the amendment.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Hummer's absent, and Mr. Smith?
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Amendment number 6 has been adopted.
So Bill number 226 as amended will go into effect on May 17, 2026, and Amendment 6 will go into effect on May 21st, 2026. Is there any other business any council member would like to bring before the county council at this time? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The county council is adjourned to the public until Tuesday, April 14th at 9 a.m. for the council's April work session here in our chambers.